Hi, everybody. It's Dawn Fisher again, Morning Glory Needleworks. Welcome to FlossTube number 33. We made it through another one. As always, thank you to everybody who's been subscribing and watching and liking. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go through my usual little beginning blurb here, my little intro. Anything I talk about, the links will be in the description, which on my laptop anyway is below the video. I think you know where to find that. If you scroll down, there'll be links to my Etsy shop or Morning Glory Needleworks, my MG Needleworks Instagram, the Stitch of the Month Facebook page, because we have a new Stitch of the Month today. And let's see, buy me a coffee. There's something called bio.link, which actually links to everything. So if you go to that one, it will give you links to everything else. So that's it. That's the intro. No, I always forget chapters. I put chapters in. That way, if you come back later and want to go to Stitch of the Month, just scroll down, and next to Stitch of the Month, it will have a time, maybe 22 minutes and 42 seconds. Just click on that timestamp. It'll take you directly to Stitch of the Month. That way you don't have to scroll through the whole video trying to find where Stitch of the Month or anything else that you want to refresh your memory on. So now on to the rest of the video. I want to give a little update on the house. In the last video, 32, I introduced you to my wonderful brother who came to stay with me here in Florida. He's from Michigan, to help me do some fairly, well, one wasn't, but most of them were fairly simple repairs, but I couldn't do them myself. And he actually found easier ways to do some of the stuff than I would have done. And he did one, wasn't major, but it probably would have cost me quite a bit of money to have it repaired, and patch some holes in the walls where shelves had been and just stuff like that. So he helped me with all that. We got all that done, plus some extra stuff. Plus we got to do some fun stuff. He talked about his website, and he's going to be traveling with his wife in his Airstream and documenting their travels. He's a wonderful photographer. So anyway, it was so nice to have him here. You know, I'm kind of on my own here. I mean, I have friends and other people that help me while I'm here, but it's good to have family come visit too. So we got everything done that he could do. Now comes the part I don't like is I have to finish sorting through all the stuff. I'll tell you, I've taken over 20 bags of clothes to be donated, garbage bags full of clothes to be donated. It's hard, but it has to be done. So I wish I didn't have to do it right away, but I do. So I do it a little at a time. I've kept quite a bit of stuff, but I also, I think I've mentioned before, I have a spot in an antique mall. It's a case, a big glass case where I have a lot of things for sale. And luckily the case right next to mine opened up. So now I have two of them. So I got to unload probably 5 or 6 boxes of antiques from when we had our store. I did that today. Actually, I've been doing it over the last couple of days, taking a few boxes at a time over there and loading up that case. So that's great. But the house, like I said, the house isn't quite ready. I still have a lot of stuff to go through. I'm going to call the same place to donate some of the big pieces of furniture we have that I don't want to take them with me. We have this huge, monstrous, I don't know what you call it. It goes around your TV anyway, but it's like, I don't even know, 7 feet tall, and big cabinets on each side, which are nice, but it's too big. So anyway, I'm going to get rid of that stuff. I found somewhere good to donate it to. There's a few little things on the outside. When I had the new roof put on, they had to replace some of the trim and the fascia that was on the house originally wasn't the right size, so they just left it off. And I'm going to have somebody come over and paint the new wood. It's just white, so it matches. The yard needs some work. You know, I haven't had anybody. Usually we had somebody come every few months or probably once or twice a year and clean up the trees. We have a group of trees in the front of the house, palm trees, and they're pretty messy. So that needs to be cleaned up. The backyard is kind of a jungle. We left it that way, the one side of it, because we liked it, because all these vines came in and grew all over the ground and everything. And we don't go over there. I just kind of like the jungle, but that's going to have to be cleaned out. That probably not everybody wants a jungle in their backyard. So other than that, I'm also going to hire somebody to come in and do the actual, like a major deep cleaning, wipe down all the cupboards and the floors and the floorboards and baseboards and all that. I don't like to clean. And if you were in my house, you would know that. But anyway, it's clean enough to be healthy and dirty enough to be happy, I guess you call it. So anyway, that's stuff I got to do. I will, I'm hoping to have a realtor come next week. She's gonna, I have a realtor I've been talking to, we kind of clicked, and she's gonna come over and give me an idea or do an appraisal, an unofficial, whatever, realtor appraisal of the house and see how much it's worth. And then hopefully I can get all this stuff done and get the house on the market and get it sold, get into my new condo, and yay, live happily ever after, I guess. I just want things to settle down again and be to where I can just be myself and I don't have to be running around all day packing and sorting through stuff. And anyway, that's enough of that. Just know I was very happy. My brother Jim got a lot of stuff done and he was a wonderful help to me while he was here. So on to the next thing. Again, I just want to remind you, I'm so excited. On May 3rd, I'm going to be this Star Spangled Sampler is going to be an online class offered by EGA. If you're not a member of EGA, you do need to join. You can go to their website. I have a link actually to this class, but up at the top, there's links. You can find a chapter, or if there actually isn't a chapter really near me. There's kind of one an hour south and an hour north. And so I had joined Cyber Stitchers, and they're an online chapter, and they have chat sessions. We have online, it's kind of like an email thing where you email or chat back and forth. They have classes also. So anyway, you can join Cyber Stitchers, but the registration for this opens on May 3rd. And I don't think there's a limit to how many people, but I just want to make everybody aware of it. I think it's only open for maybe a little over a month. I think in June sometime it shuts down. So there's going to be 4 lessons. The first one will be August 2nd. They'll be online. They'll be you'll be able to download the instructions. I'm going to do videos. Usually when I teach this, of course, I teach it live or over Zoom, and I demonstrate, like I do here with the Stitch of the Month. I demonstrate each stitch. I'm also going to give a short history of the Star Spangled Banner. There's over 30 stitches here. There's 2 stitches in each band of the sampler. So the cost for the class is $50. Now that includes the instructions and the videos. I'm going to have a supply list. They'll have a supply list you'll be able to download. Basically, I use Sulky 12-weight thread. These are the blendables, so they're kind of over dyed. I'll give some other options for like DMC or maybe Weeks or Gentle Arts. But basically, it's red, off-white, and blue, and yellow. There's a little gold there. And you can see the gold here on the stars, and I use 28 count natural linen. You can use whatever you want. I did this to make it look antique and worn like the real Star Spangled Banner is. So anyway, this, like I said, this will be, is going to be, registration will open May 3rd. So I'm hoping everybody will sign up and we'll have a good time, because this, you'll be able to contact me through a forum, ask questions, discuss things, all that. So again, I'm very excited about that. Now back to last video, I talked about the sampler I have from 1885, this really long, skinny, let's see, that's the top, this really long sampler I have that's on 28 count canvas, and it's from 1885. The initials MM are on there. There's actually, you can see it, there's actually gold beads. I don't think they're gold. There's, I think they're metallic beads also just in this section of it. But it's done using wool with a little bit of probably silk. Some of these stitches have some silk threads in it. But I talked last time about how maybe I should chart this. This is what my Victorian silhouettes sampler is based on, just these bands and this outer stuff. I did not do these same stitches. Well, guess what? I've done it. I was bound and determined. I have it all diagrammed or charted, and all the diagrams done. There's 10 different stitches, or different blocks of stitches, I would call it. We'll see how the diagrams match when I start stitching it, because it's a little bit different. So here is, there's it. It is. This is all over one thread. Let me show you again. All this the top here, because this is 24 count. This is actually a dark green. It looks black, but I'm using, I think, 3051 green. It's a really, really dark green. And it's actually done in tent stitch over one thread, this part. Now this, of course, is over different numbers of threads, and it's using wool. But so my chart, which is 13 pages long, is diagrammed with each square being one thread of fabric. Usually when you get a chart, each square equals 2. If it's a sampler, each square equals 2 by 2 threads. So there's the first block. And then make sure I get this the right way. I guess it doesn't matter. Nope, it goes this way. Here's the next block. See that? It's kind of fuzzy on my end here. Here's the next one. And a lot of these are kind of like satin or flame stitched. This one, believe it or not, was one of the hardest ones to diagram. It looks like it's really basic straight stitches, but it was pretty challenging. Here's the next page. Now they're kind of overlapping, but you can see I made it really big. I probably could have done it with the paper this way, but I want you to be able to see. I want to be able to see too. Here's this one's a really pretty group of stitches, leaf stitches. It's kind of a diagonal stitches, diamond stitches. There's the bottom of that. Oops. And there's the initials with you can see the gold. Maybe you can't. The gold beads diagrammed in there. So it's done. Now I've picked the colors. There's a lot of colors because she didn't use a lot of the same colors throughout the whole sampler. Each block, there aren't very many overlapping colors. Most of them, it's a whole group of new colors. So it's going to have a lot of colors, different colors in it. I'm going to stitch it in DMC. I probably will use a 28 count linen, and on 28 count linen, I believe this is going to be about 4 inches wide and 36 inches long. So but I'm very excited. I even looked at some banding, but most of the banding didn't, I don't know if it'll fit right on there because it has to be the exact right width and count. And a lot of them, yeah, they're the right width, but they have an edging on them, which takes up part of the stitching area. So anyway, there's the chart. I should have printed out just the whole thing as one big block. And I have all of the stitches diagrammed, and I'm making them really big because I want to be able to see them, and I want you to be able to see them. But this is what I've been doing. This is the first time I've diagrammed something in color, but there were so many colors. Usually I use white and gray, dark gray and black. Like this has white, gray, dark gray, and black. But that one had so many colors, it just gets confusing. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was some of it was a little challenging. And it was good to be challenged. This was a very typical leaf stitch. This one was kind of unusual, kind of a wave, I guess, looking stitch. And then this fun group of stitches here at the bottom. So I'm going to gather up my threads and see if I have a piece of linen big enough, because yeah, it's 36 inches long, but you need 3 inches on either side. So I need one 36 plus 6 inches, so at least 42 inches. But anyway, that's what I've been working on. This has been kind of my fun thing. Well, some of it wasn't as fun because some of it was pretty challenging to figure out and to get it. You know, you think you know the number of threads she counted over and how big the stitches are, but then you diagram it and it doesn't fit right. So one, I spent like all night drawing all the lines, and then I diagrammed it. And when I got in and looked at the sampler really close, it wasn't how I had put it on the chart. So I had to delete the whole thing and diagram it first, and then go back and redo the chart itself. So it's been a little challenge, not bad. There's only 10 stitches, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So you'll be hearing more about that. Also, some people have been asking me about how I chart my samplers and what I use and how I diagram stitches and stuff. And so probably in a future video, maybe, I don't know when, in a future video, I will talk about and maybe demonstrate. I have a program I've used for a lot of years, and then I have a new program I'm using because the other one isn't quite as available. So anyway, but that's something I may talk about in a future video. I know some people have samplers, or they want to try and design their own or whatever. That's kind of how I got started. I took a lot of classes, and I used to stitch a lot of Eileen Bennett's samplers. She lived very close to me, and she was the first instructor who taught me how to stitch on linen. So, and to do different stitches back in the 80s. I took a class, and that's what got me started. I started stitching all her samplers, and then she used a lot of browns. So I started changing all the colors because I didn't like brown that much. And then I started designing my own and buying books, and the rest is history. So there you have a little my history. But I'm really excited about this sampler. Like I said, I've had it for, I don't even remember when I bought it, many, 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 many years ago. So I think it will be fun to work on that. So now, because I was charting all these stitches, I thought it'd be fun to do a stitch that's on this sampler. Let me find, it's this. We're not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to do a small band that uses this stitch, which is Smyrna. cross stitch. So that's going to be our stitch of the month. I thought I'd already done it, but good thing I keep track of all this stuff because I don't remember things I've done. So I just did, this is the sampler here. Here's my giant sampler. It's hard to see. There we go, focus. So it's just this band here. I just did a small band this time. So here is, if you join the Facebook Stitch of the Month Club, or if you're already a member, this is the band here. This is Smyrna Cross. I did it in Buttercream 4002, which is the sulky 12 weight. That's what I'm doing mine in. You can do it in whatever color you want. And here is the stitch. This is Smyrna Cross Stitch. So it's basically a cross stitch and an upright cross. So what I'm going to do, as I always do, oh, and again, this of course will be available in the Stitch of the Month Facebook group. So there's that. So now I'm going to show you an up close PowerPoint of this so you can see that up close without me holding it all over the place. So hold on and let me bring up my PowerPoint so I can show you that. Okay, here I am. I'm back. I'm hoping that my I know at least on my screen, I don't know how it works on yours. My screen, I have a little, on the whole screen is the PowerPoint, but there's a little square with me on it. So I hope it's not blocking any of the stitches, but I'm going to demonstrate this. So what I did this offset. So it'll make kind of a ziggy-zag row. And on this sampler, or on the antique sampler, there's some compensating stitches. So if you see off to the far right, there's like a half a stitch because this sampler is 25 squares wide, but each of these stitches is 4. So you're going to have 1 left over. If you don't want to do the compensating stitch, you don't have to, but there's a lot of them on this sampler that I just charted. So basically you're going to do a giant cross stitch over 4 threads. You're just going to come up at 1, count over 4 threads, up over to the right and up and go down at 2. Over 4 threads, up 4 threads, go down at 2. Then you're going to go down 4 threads from 2 and come up at 3 and go down at 4, which is 4 threads above 1. So there's your basic cross stitch. And then we're going to do a upright cross over top of that. So you're going to count 2 threads up from step 1 and come up at 5, go across 4 threads right across the middle, go down at 6, and then you're going to go down and count 4 threads to the right from 1 and come up at 7, go up 4 threads in between 2 and 4 and go down at 8. That's a Smyrna cross. Now, I like to make my Smyrna crosses with the top stitch upright, vertical. To me, they pop more. It doesn't matter, just make them all the same. If you want your top stitch to be horizontal, I think actually on this sampler that I'm reproducing, I think they are horizontal, and I will diagram them that way. I just like it this way. Do whichever you want. Just like I said, be consistent. Now you'll notice the next stitch, I dropped it down 2 threads from the other stitch. That way you get a little zigzag motion. And then on the end, so your first stitch, step 9, is 2 threads down from step 3. You can see that on the diagram. Now, when you get to the end of the row, I have what's called a compensating stitch, or a half a stitch there, and that's diagrammed with uppercase letters, and it shows which stitches, what order they go in. The first 3 go down into a center hole, and the last stitch just is a vertical stitch that covers that hole. So just A is over 2 threads, just like a regular cross stitch, half a cross. C is over 2 threads or horizontally, and B is over 2 threads diagonally in. So you'd go A into the center, B down into the center, C down into the center, then come up at D, which is 2 threads over from A, and go down at E, which is 2 threads to the right of B. I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, I'm going to demonstrate it. So hang on and let me pull up my, my camera and I can demonstrate the stitch for you. Okay, so here we are. This is my wonderful camera and plastic canvas here so I can demonstrate stitch there. I just wanted to zoom in a little bit to make it easier. I get my diagram over here. I've done this stitch a million times, but I just want to make sure I'm doing it correctly, demonstrating it correctly. So I'm going to come up at 1. Over a little bit. Come up at 1, count to the right 4 threads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is first half of my big giant cross stitch. Then I'm going to come up 4 threads below. There we are. And then I'm going to do a horizontal stitch. So that is step 5, 6. And then the final stitch is 7, 8. So there is a completed cross stitch. Of course, this is going to cover more. Let me pull mine up because this is really huge and I'm using, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me zoom in a little bit. Just want to show you the stitch a little bit more. A lot of focus here. No, it doesn't want to focus. Anyway, you'll get a lot better coverage than what this stitch looks like. Now we're way out of focus again. There we go. Okay. Let me pull this tight so it looks better. Okay. So there is the first stitch. Now the next stitch is going to start 2 threads down from, here we are, 2 threads down from the previous stitch. You can see these may be a kind of loose, but again, I'm using crochet cotton, so this is not the best thread for cross stitching with. And then you just do the same thing, the big giant cross stitch. Horizontal stitch. And then the vertical stitch. Now, the diagram I've given you only has 2 stitches. Obviously, you need to continue across the row for as many stitches as it calls for on the chart. This is just, I wanted to make it big enough to where you could, you can see the stitches. I don't like it when the stitch diagrams are so small and you can't see what you're supposed to be doing. So I did that right. Talking and stitching at the same time here. So I'm just going to do a couple more of these and then I will do the compensating stitch, which will be at the end. So you can just kind of see, it's just a fun stitch. Once you understand the rhythm, you don't hardly have to think about it too much. So there we go. Do the vertical stitch, and now I'm going to do the what would be the compensating stitch at the end. So the first stitch shares holes with this, but only goes over, you count over and up 2 threads. Then you're going to do, like the other half of your leg here, you're going to do the other diagonal. There's that. See, it's like a half a cross stitch. Then you're going to do the horizontal stitch. And then over top of that, you're going to do the full vertical stitch. So there's your compensating stitch. So I hope you like the stitch. I like it. It's a fun stitch. It can be done over 2 threads also, but then it's really tight. But I decided to do it over 4 like it is in the sampler. Let me go back so you can see me, and then we'll just talk a minute. Okay, I'm back. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was, again, that's one of my favorite stitches. If you have any questions, let me know. Any questions about anything, please. I love it when you comment. Everybody's been so wonderful to comment on everything that's been going on in my life and all that. Whether you comment on that or stitching, I'm happy to hear about any of that. Next time, I'll probably hopefully be talking about some antique, maybe needlework stuff, tools, or whatever, and maybe another sampler. We'll see. If there's something you want to talk about, let me know. Maybe I'll demonstrate my programs. But anyway, so that's it for FlossTube number 33. Again, as always, thank you to everybody who subscribes, like I said, commented. Don't forget to show and join Stitch of the Month Facebook group. The link is in the bottom. And show your progress also on A Stitch a Day. That's another Facebook group that's out there. Let me know what you think of the stitch. Let me know what stitches you would like to learn. I have 10 more stitches in my thousands of stitches I have. And of course, all the links are posted in the bottom there. So go visit. And that's it. Nice, short, sweet again. And I will see you on the 15th of May. Thank you again for visiting.